The weather is about to change drastically. Welcome to the weather forecast on CIA TV channel. Dear friends, in today's forecast, we'll break down what you need to know about the weather that will affect the United States in the coming days. Severe weather is possible, including the risk of damaging winds and localized tornado risks. We've had some damaging winds and hail across parts of Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, and even Tennessee. A major heat wave is approaching, and temperatures are about to skyrocket again across the United States. In addition, the weather is about to change drastically as the tropics are heating up extremely quickly, with 2 hurricanes likely to hit the Atlantic early next week. And they could affect the United States. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, family, and on social media. Comment in the comments below. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel to follow. Thank you. Now, let's move on to the threat of severe weather over the next few days. And right now, we've got showers and thunderstorms stretching from Texas all the way up into the Northeast. However, we've had some damaging winds and hail across parts of Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, even Tennessee. The other good thing that's come out of this is the precipitation. Right now, we're in a lot of drought across the Ohio Valley and even the lower Mississippi River Valley. We've got nothing going on along the West Coast and even across the Midwest and the Northern Plains. Things are quiet for now, and I really don't expect that to change much over the next few days. The Storm Prediction Center has a small threat for severe weather from Kentucky back to the Gulf Coast, where the biggest concern will be isolated damaging winds and isolated brief tornadoes somewhere in the Ohio Valley. So the severe weather threat will shift to the East Coast, with the risk of damaging winds anywhere from the Gulf Coast all the way down to southern New England. It wouldn't be surprising if we saw isolated tornado threats develop somewhere along the East Coast, possibly from Virginia back into Massachusetts. So this is the severe weather window. With a lot of rain throughout the day today, there will be a lot of rain, which will exacerbate the drought situation. And by tomorrow afternoon, things will be dry across the Midwest. However, some scattered showers and thunderstorms could be possible from Indiana all the way down to Georgia along the East Coast as we head into Friday. Some isolated strong winds and possibly a bit of scattered hail are possible throughout the afternoon. There may even be a chance somewhere near the Appalachian Mountains. But really nothing too concerning as far as the severe weather threat tomorrow. And then in the southeast, we will have a band of storms, mostly strong winds across Mississippi and Louisiana. There may even be a small risk of severe weather for a more localized area with the potential for more damaging winds. And then as we head into Friday, there will be some scattered showers and thunderstorms across Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. Breathtakingly cool weather is coming in behind this large storm system with a small cold front moving through the southern plains and Ohio Valley. However, this won't last long as we head into next week temperatures will rise across the northern plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley. The only areas that might feel a little cooler will be in the central and southern plains. And the Climate Prediction Center currently says there's a good chance we'll see above average temperatures in late September and early October. The biggest threat we're going to have today is going to be strong tornadoes, which will be a more isolated threat, the I-95 corridor in the northeast, the mid-Atlantic coast, all the way up to the southeast, including the Carolinas. We're going to see some pretty heavy rain here across the Tennessee River Valley of Ohio in the northeast. That's where we could see up to 2.3 inches of rain, and that could alleviate some of our drought. That could lead to heavy rain and flooding in the middle Mississippi Valley, particularly in the Ozarks of Missouri, and then extending up into Kentucky, West Virginia, and southern Ohio near the Ohio River. So it would be nice to see some real drought relief from some rainfall in the Tennessee River Valley, Ohio, and the Northeast after this storm clears out over the weekend. As we head into Wednesday as the cold front moves further east, Florida could see record high temperatures in the mid-90s tomorrow afternoon. And then as we get into Friday, temperatures will drop slightly to the northeast, into the 70s and warm back up in the plains, particularly the south-central plains and the lower Mississippi Valley, into the mid-80s. This Friday, you could see that it's a pretty strong storm there and it starts to loop back towards Baja, and that will bring some moisture to the western United States as we get into the last days of September. So some tropical moisture to the west, including the Rocky Mountains, including the desert southwest. Those of you in Southern California, Arizona, Nevada around the Vegas area, even as far east as Santa Fe and Albuquerque into New Mexico, are seeing some of that moisture in the final days of September. As we head into the weekend, which is Saturday, September 27th and Sunday, September 28th, the last weekend of September, it looks like we're going to see some higher than normal temperatures in Canada and the northern United States. Cooler temperatures prevail here with some tropical influences in the desert southwest, as well as the southeast. And you can see it's going to be pretty dry across the middle of the country on Saturday and Sunday. Over the weekend, you can see the heaviest rainfall in some parts of the Corollas. Some minor flooding is possible, at least across the Asheville area, extending into Greenville and Columbia, the lowlands of South Carolina toward Charleston. Dry in the northeast, dry in the Midwest and plains, and then a little wetter in the desert southwest this weekend, with some tropical feedback and moisture moving from the eastern Pacific north into the western U.S. As we head into the first few days of October, it looks like it will be drier in the Mississippi Valley and some of the interior northeast, southeast Canada, also dry. A little wetter with some tropical feedback on the east coast, and a little wetter in the west as the trough of low pressure moves in. Now, we're watching 3 different areas right now in the Atlantic. One of them is Hurricane Gabriel. This storm is moving away from the United States. But if you're in the Azores Islands or interested in that, there's a chance of tropical storm impact becoming a hurricane tomorrow and also Friday. We have 2 areas of development in the western Atlantic, and it looks like at least one of these could impact the United States. There's a very high chance of development over the next 3 to 5 days. And I think we'll see at least one of these develop into a tropical storm next. This is going to be the area we'll have to watch for the next storm. And this storm could impact the United States over the next couple of days. It's going to move through the Greater Antilles toward the Bahamas by the end of the week. We'll have a tropical storm in the Bahamas area, and then it's going to move north. The best chance right now is that it's going to move towards the Corollas, maybe just off the coast of Florida, and maybe even make landfall in the United States. So we could actually have 2 hurricanes side by side, which is a pretty good chance that 2 different tropical storms could form within a couple hundred miles. So, as we go into Friday into Saturday, a hurricane, potentially even a major hurricane, will form north of the Lesser Antilles. Saturday night, right off the coast of Florida is where we could have a tropical storm forming. And right now, that area of interest is over Puerto Rico. So our next named storm is probably going to be this disturbance, which is going to be very far away from the United States. As we go into Sunday, let's see how close this tropical storm gets to Florida and the Carolinas. It could impact the East Coast. This is a very strong storm north of Puerto Rico. Will this exact scenario play out and we get a hurricane near the United States? Right now, that's uncertain. And let's be honest. Let's assume both of these tropical waves develop into at least tropical storms. And you can see that this is very close to being a hurricane when it reaches South Carolina on Monday, and then eventually as we get into Tuesday, it's going to be out in the Atlantic. Which is entirely possible. This is not a definitive forecast that either of them will develop. One of them may not develop. First of all, we think that the eastern tropical wave, which is east of the Lesser Antilles, is likely to become our next tropical storm and will almost certainly be a hurricane just south of Bermuda. If we do end up seeing the tropical wave that's currently forming over Puerto Rico, which I think has about a 70% chance of becoming a tropical storm right now, but a little less likely to become a hurricane with this disturbance, then there's a chance that we could have some impacts on the United States. So we definitely need to watch this very closely. In the eastern Pacific, we still have Hurricane Narda that's going to continue to move west and remain a hurricane. We also have two disturbances, and that one has a 90% chance of developing, and it looks like it's going to curve out to sea at this point. In fact, this cluster of storms over the eastern Caribbean Sea is what's expected to eventually move into that area. So this storm could very well impact areas like the Dominican Republic, Haiti. Some of these storms could quickly escalate to Category 2, Category 3 or Category 4 storms in the coming days. The current track tells us that this could be a Gabrielle-like outcome, in that this will be largely a negligible event for most landmasses. Bermuda is in sight, so we will be monitoring the situation closely, but even that could change. We will continuously update the storm situation in the next news. Please subscribe to the channel to follow. Thank you for watching the news on CIA TV channel.